This is The Last of Us, the TV show available through HBO and other streaming services, I imagine, that are available in different places. So be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well, and if you do like this sort of thing, let me know and we'll continue to review the episodes as they release if that is something of interest to people. So in this first episode, it's about an hour and a half in length, a full hour and a half, which is wild, very, very lengthy, and it's essentially the tutorial to the game, which might sound a bit weird, but let me jump in here. So if you're coming in from the context of, hey, you've never played The Last of Us, hey, you don't know what The Last of Us is, you don't care about the games, you just watch shows and stuff, you're in for a real treat because this is an excellent, excellent TV show that really does nail elements of translating a game into, well, basically a TV series. It's something I've actually long sought after, is seeing something that is true to the source material, doesn't stray too far, and actually kind of retells the game, which is really quite interesting because it's a different medium where people that, literally don't play games might actually be able to enjoy this narrative. Now, with that, if you're coming from the gaming perspective, like myself, I literally just played the remake of the remaster of the game. A few months ago, I streamed and played all of it. So it's very fresh in my mind. So for me, it actually gave a little bit of an element of like slight boredom because I was literally like, it's a shot for shot remake of the game, which is again really cool because there's so many times where I'm like, I wish they would stay true to the source material, but I was like, I literally just played this, I just witnessed this not too long ago. I'm like, I literally know everything that's going to happen, which kills a lot of the suspense. But if you've never played the game, you're not familiar with the source material, you are going to love this. It's very well done, it's very well acted. The quality and the visuals are excellent, especially for like a TV show. Very, very visually impressive. Another really cool thing, and a side fact that doesn't really factor in, but what's cool is this was actually shot where I live. It was shot in Calgary and the surrounding area. So it's actually like in the first episode, I already saw some places I was like, wow, I actually know that location. So that's really cool and interesting to me, is that element of it. But yeah, this first episode basically takes, it does the opening kind of like little, I don't know if you would call it like a prologue sort of thing, where you get to like, get introduced to this other character, this main character in, yeah, basically Joel's life. Pedro Pascal is playing the main character, and you get a nice little sweet sort of journey that really does just kind of capture that initial, opening of the game. It's got the hard-hitting moments, it's got that hard-hitting element to it, and then it dives right in. I thought they would maybe, take their time, go a little bit slower, but no. The pacing is dead on good. It's fast, it's quick, it gets right into the actual action of the show, and it doesn't make you wait, which I think is kind of fantastic. It's really what they should have done, and that's what they did, and they delivered on it, which was really, really cool. And then you get into the meat of the story, you meet some of the side characters, you get an idea of the context of the world. So the big change here, probably the only big change that I've really noticed, is the time period this takes place in. There's even a really cool sort of opening that introduces you to the concept of what the disease could be in the particular show, and I think that's really cool as well. I like that little opening bit. But yeah, so this one takes place, it's like the early 2000s, and then it jumps 20 years. In the games, it's like the 2010s, and then it jumps 20 years. So the technology is going to be a little different in this particular universe in comparison to what really were done with the games, because it's a different time period. 10 years makes a huge difference, especially when it comes to the technology, the types of vehicles. Like the 2000s versus the 2010s is like actually going to factor in, I think, quite a bit in regards to what the environments are like, what the tools are like, what the missing elements are of this universe as you continue to grow into this place where it's like, a crazy monstrous fungal destruction, like a plague of unknown elements and everything like that. But the world is destroyed, and if you have played the games, you'll be looking off into the backdrops, especially as we get towards the conclusion of the episode. I'm not spoiling anything, I don't want to. The whole point of the reviews, talk about things but allow you to experience them yourselves, is kind of usually what I go for. But that ending sort of opening tease is like, okay, yeah, no, you definitely know where it's going from the games. It's cool, it's beautiful, it's well captured. And that's the thing, is like, when I was watching this, it felt very much like a movie, in the sense that like the CGI quality, when it was used and whatnot, really did look quite realistic, or they do a good job of blending the environment in, so that it feels large in scale, proper to the game. It's still got those more intimate, smaller moments, but it's like literally, like I said, scene for scene, shot for shot, of what the game is, the literal progression. So it's kind of like it opens, with the prologue. It tells the characters dealing with the quarantine zone in the future, and then it kind of ends with a big tease of like, now we're out into the big world. We've got this huge thing that we're going to have to go towards. We got our goal, we got our setup. And then they did like a scenes from future episodes, so it kind of looked like scenes from the whole season as opposed to just the next episode. But it should be diving into a little bit more deeper horror when we get to that next part. But I think they established the characters well here. I think, again, the performances were very well done. I think the Ellie was Ellie was well captured in regards to the performance there. She was great as Ellie playing that character. Pedro Pascal, again, he was really, really good as his character. The supporting characters are really interesting. Like, I can't wait to see what they do with this one. Like, it doesn't seem like they're going to deviate, which, again, is kind of a good thing, I think. For me, I'm like, because it's so story-driven, the actual game. When you get into the TV show, it's like, I've literally, like, experienced this in my mind. It's just in a different medium. But if you're, like, new to this universe, I think you're going to really be blown away by the storytelling, the narrative, and the plot. And I'm just wondering how far they're going to take it season to season in regards to translating, the game over into this universe. Because if you've played the games, there's going to be significant, like, time changes, character changes. And I'm just wondering if it's going to be very close and then eventually going to just deviate off, or what's going to happen here, what they're going to do with time, what they're going to do with the setup. I'm curious. I really am. I think it's going to be a big hit. I think they already have nailed a lot of the emotional tones, a lot of the story setup, a lot of the scale of it. It's really, really neat. I don't know if they kind of dove into the horror elements too much yet, but you're going to get those because the creatures they've set up look really unsettling. It's going to be really violent, really crazy. Like, the opening is just as shocking as you would imagine it, because you get a kind of you get a glimpse into the world as it's kind of falling apart. And it's crazy, like the destruction. They really translated it quite well from game to actual TV medium, and I'm genuinely impressed. Like, I really am curious to see where it's going. But again, while I was watching it, I was just kind of like, I did this not too long ago. I wish there was almost more of a gap between me having played the game and the show coming out, because I'm like, literally, it feels like I'm just reliving something I played not too long ago, which could be an issue for some people coming from the gaming world that are wanting to experience this. But I think this might be one of the first times we've actually got a translation that, for a game that actually respects the source material, gets the source material right, and doesn't try to do silly, weird things. So hopefully that continues. Hopefully that delivers more going forward. And I'm excited to see where The Last of Us heads, as I quite enjoyed the show. And, maybe I'll dive in for more. Again, liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and just let me know if you enjoyed this, and maybe we'll cover more episodes.